problem is we have, with all the things that we do in this country, is the lies that come out of the political parties, because that's all they are, lies. And no matter what they say, it can't change. That local government was around before federation in every constitution. Yes, it was, but not the one that they're talking about. It was the parliaments of the colonies. They were only colonies. Individual colonies. Individual separate parliaments of those colonies. They were local governments of those colonies. And that's what Anne Toomey should have explained, because she gave the impression, by what she said, the local government is the system we have then and now. But that's nonsense. That system is treason and fraud. She said there's only two systems of government, state and federal. She got that right. The state parliaments are subordinate parliaments to the federal parliament. They are not governments. It is the executive, the legislature and judicature which make up the government of each state. The separation of powers is intermingled a little bit through the executive and legislature, but certainly is not when it comes to the judicature. It is totally separate. Any joining together of that would be blatant treason and constitutional fraud. And you said, this book, the green one, which I have, and I always call it the mucus one because mucus has no value, nor does this book or its contents. It is not the same as this book, as you call it, put together by two men. Your mucus constitution is a load of crap. The annotations to it are incorrect. They are not the same as this one. If those black books you had over your left shoulder, you know, in your bookcase, those ones you pointed out and said that was a record of the constitutional conventions, did you read them? Did you actually read them? You should. Like you give advice to other people. This book did not, nor did the other red one, which this is a derivative of, go into print in January 1901. No, it didn't. It actually came out 1903 or 4. Why? And it's evident in here some of the things that took place. Now, what you don't comprehend, the Parliament is not a government, not at state level or federal level. It is simply a legislature. It is not sovereign, it is not supreme, and its powers are limited by the provisions of the Constitution. Can't see that? Read the Constitution, it says it. The Red Book is the Constitution. It contains this, Commonwealth Constitution Act 1900 UK. You people are teaching rubbish. It's time to stop. The Commonwealth Constitution Act 1900 UK, as proclaimed and gazetted, is this one on the 9th of July 1900. Why didn't you say the date, or didn't you know it? Is that what you are talking about, or don't you know? If you know, you should say it. This then contains the Commonwealth Constitution Act 1900 UK. It also contains the Commonwealth Constitution, a derivative of it. The reason it's a derivative, because the Commonwealth Constitution Act is an enabling act. Now, if you took the time to read this, taken out of those black books over your left shoulder, was the fact that that's Hansard. That is a record of what actually took place to create this act. But this has 9 clauses. The first clause, the 9th clause, does not, on its own, create the Commonwealth Constitution or the Commonwealth. Clause 4, the Commonwealth shall be established and the Constitution of the Commonwealth shall take effect on and after the day so appointed. That sounds like, look, it's set up the Commonwealth. Then you go back. It's got the 9 clauses in the Act and you can't change it. If you remove something, that's changing it, and that's what you're doing. And you stated it. You said the 9th clause is the only one that creates the Commonwealth. No, it isn't. That's a lie. You also held up the little ribbon one with the Statute of Westminster tied to the back of it, and you said, this book is only a book, and this one is the Constitution. Take the Statute of Westminster off it, because that isn't even a lawful act. Came into this country by John Curtin, his government, in 1942, and backdated in 1931. It's invalid. You can't backdate legislation. You can't. So that's a lie, and you knew it. If you didn't know it, it's time you went back to school or read yourself. This book was written by Dr. John Quick, and Sir Robert Garran. From those black books, if they are a true record. If they're not, it's from the true record. Why? Simply because this is a book whereby it contains our Constitution. It contains the 9 clauses put there by Queen Victoria. Our access to straight from state courts to the Privy Council is guaranteed in this book, and the explanation why. Each section, 1 to 128, is explained clearly the intentions of the framers of the Constitution. Who were they? Isaac Isaacs, Sir Samuel Griffiths, Parkes, the first Prime Minister. They were all involved in making the Constitution, putting it together and interpreting it clearly. And you said, oh, it contains laws from another country, from America. No, it does, but it doesn't, not the way you said. It uses those laws, a way of showing you how they want the Constitution to go. They put it together. Who for? Us. Everybody here has the same standing in this country. Now, you have put a story that local government has rights. Local government did not exist in its present form until 1979. This is the Constitution Act. See? Read it clearly, and it states that many times previous section 52 and 53 repealed by 57 Victoria number 14. How did you do that when this is a letters patent? And contained in this says it's a letters patent. Now, the local government was added by number 88 of 1979, which is what I said. It was added in 1979 to every state constitution. Local government then being municipal authorities converted into a government. What for? Because it's always been the Labor Party's policy, and taken up by the Liberals and the others, they're not innocent in this, to create local governments. Oh, it's too much for the state parliament. Hogwash. Liars, thieves. It's just another way of draining the taxpayers to run a system and take the burden off the state parliaments to pay for all the roads and everything, which they get grants from the federal parliament for. How many trillions of dollars is collected in fuel tax every year? And it's trillions. It's not billions, it's trillions. What's the GDP? Trillions. Why are they lying? So they can hide it. They can hide it so you can't get it. So you can't see the treachery that's going on. And suddenly they get millions to give away in foreign aid to people. Did we authorise that? No. What does our Constitution say? All money in relation to the federal government's debts, once they've paid them all, the excess goes back to the states in relation to head of population. Why aren't you listening? What part do you not understand? The states did not exist before federation. The High Court ruled that, and it is a fact, with number 48 of 1996, when McGuinty from Western Australia, the purported Attorney General, and he wasn't, he went to the High Court to get a ruling that the states existed before federation. Try and confuse them, but it backfired, because they ruled, and you start at paragraph 17, it says, the state constitutions continue subject to the Commonwealth Constitution. The states are created under 107, 108 and 109 and draw their authority referentially from our Constitution. Referentially means subject to. The constitutions of the states continue subject to our Constitution. Why? Because the framers wanted it that way. They wanted to put a system in place so scum, like the political parties, cannot commit treason, fraud and everything else on the people of this country. They found a way around it by creating the two-party preferred system, which is 4 parties, under the lies and direction of the dishonest, deceptive United Nations. Another load of crap. See, Kirby got it right when he said, clearly, all those agreements signed outside this country mean nothing until they're put to the people in a referendum. Yuan said the Australia Act didn't need to go to the people. Well, it says that it changes the status of this country to that of an independent sovereign nation. Isn't that changing the Constitution? Or can't you perceive that? It's lies and it's fraud. Stop doing it to the Australian people. This country is going nowhere until you put the state constitutions back in place in their original form, because they're letters patents. Why? because it says so. It says they're letters patents. Queen Victoria did it on the 29th of October 1900. Every single colony and the Australasian Council ceased on the 9th of July 1900 on the proclamation of this. They ceased to exist. How do we know? Because Quick-and-Garran, according to the law and facts, wrote this book, and in section 5138 it states exactly that.
Can run on for a long time, run on for a long time, run on for a long time. Sooner or later gotta cut you down, sooner or later gotta cut you down. Go tell that long-tongued liar, go and tell that midnight rider, tell the rambler, the gambler, the backbiter, tell him that God's gonna cut him down, tell him that God's gonna cut him down.